Hello there, young man. Would you like to take a trip into Fire Emblem Awakening's cast? Like, take this person, for example. She acts all mean and rough, but inside she's really sweet. Don't you like one of them tsunderes? Okay, check out this young lady. She's got a big butt and she wants to kill you. Don't you like them? One of them yanders? Well, why not try this young lady? She's a main character, so she gets lots of screen time. Don't you like them? Those... I don't think Lucina actually follows under a stereotypical anime trope, so I don't know how to intentionally mispronounce the trope. How about a dude in his 40s that's Russian? The shepherds of Fire Emblem Awakening, though diverse in design, aren't so diverse when it comes to the age aspect. Likely owing to the avatar being able to S-support with anyone, 90% of the cast was in the ambiguous age range of young enough that our teen players will want to get it on with them, and old enough that our adult players will want to get it on with them. However, there is one character in the first generation that stands out among the rest. Gregor is very clearly a middle-aged man. And by God, is that middle-aged man the best character in the entire game? No, I am not accepting any debate. Gregor's first appearance in Awakening has him running after Naui, a little girl under attack from the dark cult Grimleal, because you can't have a Fire Emblem game without an evil demonic cult in there somewhere. Gregor was a mercenary hired to help the Grimleal sacrifice Naui for their dark god, but Gregor decided that such a dark task was too evil for him, and instead he drew his sword to protect her from their clutches. The issue is, Gregor's not exactly the most trustworthy person at a glance, and Naui, alongside Chrom and the shepherds who stumbled upon the scene, think he's part of the people trying to kill her. Thankfully, Gregor manages to prove himself a valuable ally, and Chrom decides to hire him to help the shepherds from that point on. And that is all that Gregor does in the story of Fire Emblem Awakening. He does nothing else for the rest of the game. But Awakening does have a ton of supports under its belt. Some of them serious, some of them more comedic, and unless this is your first rodeo, you know we're gonna start with the serious stuff. His supports with Church, Lon'Qu, and Tharja help explore his backstory that led him up to being a part of Awakening's colorful cast. So let's get right into it. His support with Church starts with him attempting to flirt with her, and it's actually going pretty well for him. Until she asks him to join her for a ride on Minerva. Her wyvern, not the character. Callback. Gregor then reveals that he has a fear of heights due to a time his father forced him to stay up in a tree all alone for 3 days and nights. Church starts to feel bad for him, but he immediately asks her not to pity him, giving both a small glimpse into his childhood and a bit of a glimpse into the type of man he is. Gregor is very much a the past is in the past kind of man. He never dwells on things that have already happened, with one major exception that we'll get to later. As the support continues, Gregor reveals that he actually knows how to speak Wyvern like Church can, which means that apparently Wyvern is just a made-up fantasy language that people can learn, like Klingon or French. Gregor remarks that his knowledge of Wyverns came from a job he got a long time ago. He was sent to the Wyvern Valley, where he was tasked to collect claws from the dead Wyverns there. However, the men that Gregor was hired by, and the men that he was working with, were a lot more cruel than Gregor. Rather than just take dead Wyverns' claws, they decided it would be more fun to hunt down and kill living Wyverns for their claws. The cruel men found a mother Wyvern with her lone baby, and struck down the mother, pocketing her claws for... You know, I don't even know what you would use Wyvern claws for, and frankly, I don't want to know. The men then turned their eyes to the helpless baby, and it was at that point that Gregor intervened. He turned his sword against his employers and fellow hired swords and struck them all down, saving the baby's life. That baby, as fate would have it, was Church's wyvern, and Church is overcome with gratitude for Gregor's actions. He says that he doesn't deserve thanks. He was merely acting because he knew what it was like to have your parents cut down in front of you. He says that while his parents were hard on him, they were still his parents, and they were all that he had. He doesn't elaborate as to what killed them or why, which, as a lore enthusiast, it is a little infuriating that Gregor keeps bringing up his sad anime backstory only to quickly divert the conversation away from it, but that's just the kind of man he is. He tells Church that Gregor always do duty for employer, but that not duty was bad murder. Gregor could not do, never. Which gives another example of the same kind of motive he had for saving Nowie back when he joined the Shepherds. Which, come to think of it, that means Gregor turned on his employers because they were killing a dragon child on 2 separate occasions, spaced like several decades apart. Huh. His support with Tharja has her trying to curse Gregor because he's been bothering her because... well, it's Tharja. She's bothered by the sun for daring to shine on her. The curses don't work, and, out of annoyance, she decides to hear a request from Gregor in exchange for him giving her some stuff she needs to curse him. At first, he asks to bring back the dead, which Tharja gets not even really angry at, just exhausted at, as she implies that bring back the dead is asked to warlocks as often as play Wonderwall is asked to the white douche with an acoustic guitar at a party. When she says that she can't bring back the dead, he eventually settles for being able to talk to the dead, which is a spell Tharja is much more able to do for him. Gregor asks to talk to his dead brother, Gregor. And no, Gregor's parents weren't just unoriginal. Gregor's brother was killed a long time ago, and Gregor took his dead brother's name in tribute. Meaning, yes, Gregor's name isn't really Gregor, and with his family dead, it's likely his true name is a secret that will be taken to his grave. Tharja successfully channels the soul of the original Gregor, and in it we learn his fate. He was killed by bandits due to some, quote, bad thing Gregor did. Even though it was directly Gregor's fault that his brother died, Gregor did attempt to save his brother in the end, and has been carrying the guilt of causing his brother's death for a long time. However, his brother tells him that he bears no ill will to his beloved brother, recognizing that Gregor did all he could to save him. The seance ends, and Gregor feels the burden at long last lifted from his shoulders, the guilt of his past at last allowed to heal. His support with Chrom also sheds some light onto his history, and on some things he's still doing now. Chrom goes over to give Gregor some of his payment for his services. You know, swords aren't free and all that. Gregor then puts some money away in an envelope and asks Chrom to mail it for him, leading Chrom to ask where he's sending money to. Gregor reveals that, ever since he was a wee little boy, he's been sending some of his money over to the FEMS Paint Patreon. Gregor then tells Chrom that for as little as $3 a month, you can help support the FEMS Paint channel and all of its antics. And if you pitch out some more money, you could even get your name read aloud and vote on polls to decide future character analysis videos. He says that right now, there's a video for a new Magvel video analysis, and so far Noel is in the lead, but that could change at any time. He tells Chrom that he can join the likes of Atomic X160, Dell, follow Penta the Northstar on Twitch, subscribe to Great Riek, Green Brigand, Gregor, Hell on Heelys, Kieran Morin, Lightning Bolt, Me Do a Gamer, Memi, Nember, Nevrix, Rangerman Sam, Rory O'Carroll, Ryan Walter, Space1255, Steph D, Tato, Anti-Ginger, Brentendo11, Drew Hack, and Michael Hamilton, and support the channel for himself. Most people don't actually know about this support because you have to unlock it by beating the game as Luigi, which is really hard to do, but trust me, it's real. The last snippet we hear of Gregor's backstory is that, a long time ago, he had met with Khan Basilio in battle. Long Q remarks that Gregor was the only sellsword to be able to match Basilio in single combat. No small feat considering Basilio's incredible strength and reputation. Gregor's skill was so impressive that he was even thought capable of taking the title of Khan from Basilio, though that never came to be. However, Gregor remarks that he barely even remembers that time, and that it's all in the past now, a line that is becoming more and more infuriating every time he says it. In every sense, Gregor's backstory is just barely shown to us. We don't know what kind of mistake Gregor made to get his brother killed, we never know how the battle between he and Basilio went, we never know why his parents were so cruel to him, but it's enough to get the player interested, and enough to make him feel like a fleshed out character. Basically, Gregor is the old man throwing breadcrumbs on a park bench, and we are the ducks who are at the mercy of his offerings. I want more, Mr. Gregor! I am a hungry duck who wants the entire loaf of bread! But maybe the charm of Gregor is just how little we know about what we know, and I just need to accept that. But now that we've gone over all the serious stuff, let's go over some of the more lighthearted and fun stuff. Like almost all of Awakening's cast, Gregor's got his own quirky gimmick to him. And what's his gimmick, you may ask? He's Russian! Yeah, that's about it. His gimmick is that he's like a 40-year-old man and is also from the country that TF2 made up for the Heavy's backstory. But his age and unique way of speaking leads to plenty of fun interactions, of him using his aforementioned age and experience to just be a generally helpful person to anyone that needs a hand. For example, he's shown to be very perceptive to other people, as when Robin starts to come down with an illness, Gregor manages to notice that they're trying to hide it and offers some of his own special medicine to help them. And later on in that same support with Robin, Gregor manages to notice that they've come under an infection from a bug bite and helps them get treated for it. He's by no means a medic either. His help there is purely from him having a keen eye and a font of knowledge. Though not all of his knowledge is useful, as Gregor remarks that sleeping together and sharing body heat is a viable way to keep muscles limber. Another example is in the Harvest Scramble DLC, where Long Q is struggling to understand the concept of fun. As Awakening's resident edgy sword dude, he struggles to understand why people enjoy festivals so much, as the commotion is just unpleasant for him. Gregor gives him some life advice, stating that his life cycle has become stagnant, and he needs to broaden his horizons. Gregor manages to convince Long Q to do this by incorporating his hobbies into his persuasion, using Long Q's skill in blade-related cooking preparation to push him to try making friends in the kitchen by helping them with festival preparations. It shows that Gregor's experience extends to interacting with people, as even the famously dry Long Q manages to have a laugh at Gregor's enthusiasm. His support with Muriel has, in my opinion, the line that most encompasses who Gregor is as a person. Gregor finds a book Muriel misplaced, and not knowing what it was and that it belonged to someone, started reading it and writing notes in its passages. When Muriel gets the book back, she finds that Gregor was able to help improve the book in places with his notes, and is taken aback since she thought Gregor didn't have the kind of book smarts that she does. And he remarks that she is correct. Gregor never had a formal education. He says he's a graduate from the School of Life. Muriel wishes to learn how to live and learn like Gregor does, and he tells her, quote, "You want to know secret of life study? Do nothing," is exactly what Gregor does. Gregor does nothing special. Gregor learns by watching life. Knowledge is natural, like bird learning to fly or cat coughing up ball of fur. Most people run like chicken with no head, always thinking of next urgent task. But if you go slow and watch everything, you can be smart like Gregor. End quote. And that belief really does sum up how Gregor has lived his entire life. He's become a well of experience and compassion just by living, all of its happy victories and all of its bitter losses. With all his experience, he's become a dependable man who spends his time helping others go through the lessons that he learned. His endings in Awakening all have him enjoying a lazy, relaxed lifestyle after Grima's defeat. At least until he either runs out of money if he's single, or gets spurred into action by his wife if he's married. He might not be the most flashy or the most spry, but this old man is more than enough to hang out with the best of them. As always, I would like to thank all of you for coming out to watch another MS Paint character analysis video. This is actually the 30th character we've done, so yeah, milestone. As always, I would like to thank the Green Brigand for his help with the script, looking over it and pointing out all of my typos that I never actually fix and just say correctly when I read them. If you enjoyed the video, please feel free to leave a like on the video, comment on the video, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, subscribe to the Patreon, and draw me behind the wheel of a large automobile. Until next time.
Change the world. My final message. Good